Welcome back. Today's lesson is about optimizing business functions, and we're going to look at revenue. So optimizing is just a fancy name for max or min, and we're talking about revenue. Really what this would be is maximum revenue. So you will see words like what value of sales maximizes revenue. So you may be given a revenue function, or you could be given a demand function. So let's say that we were told that we had demand function p equals negative 0.2x plus 30. And we were asked to find what x value maximizes the revenue. Okay, well, we have to remember, how do we get the revenue function when we have the demand function? So the revenue is x times the demand function. So I'm going to multiply this demand function through by an x. So what we should get is negative 0.2x squared plus 30x. So this is the function that I want to find the max of. Okay, so when we are finding a max, we always want to go ahead and find the critical numbers. And the critical numbers are when the first derivative equals 0. So let's go ahead and find that first derivative. When I do my power rule, set it to 0, and then go ahead and solve this, we are going to get 75. Now, we only got one number, so we're hoping that that's the answer, that that's the number that maximizes the revenue. But how would we know for sure? Well, a couple things. One is that this original function is a downward opening parabola, so it's always concave down, so the only kind of extrema we could have is a max. Or we could use our second derivative test. The second derivative would just be a constant negative 0.4. So it's negative, always concave down, so that means that this is in fact a max. Okay, now what that means is that for our company, the number of sales which would maximize a revenue would be x equals 75. So I need 75 items, right, that I'm selling. Now if you want to know what the actual revenue is, we would want to plug in 75 into this equation. So if I plug in 75 into this equation, I get, trusty calculator, let's see, negative 0.2 times 75 squared plus 30 times 75. And if I hit all the buttons right, I get a whopping $562.50. Okay, now, if you're curious about what price we should set in order to sell 75 items, that's when we'd go back up here, and I'd want to plug in 75 up here. So if I plug in 75 up here, it'll tell me what price I should charge in order to sell exactly 75. So it looks like whatever it is that we're selling it for 15 bucks. Okay, so the maximum is 75. The revenue would be this, and our price that we'd want to set, $15. It just depends on the question, so read your question carefully. This just said what x value maximizes revenue, so that's our answer.